Excuse me, miss. You dropped this when you fell down back there.
Thank you.
Everything is ready, my darling. Do not be afraid. We will be together again.
L-O-L-L-I-P-O-P spells lollipop.
This sandwich tastes as dry as hell.
And you're not just a funny guy. You're a lame brain, too.
This is all the whiskey you possess?
You still believe in ghosts, pea-brain?
He's a closet! He's a closet!
He's a closet!
Hello and welcome to Hello, This is the Doom Show. I am Richard.
I am Brad.
Folks, welcome to the best show that is still covering every episode of Antiques Roadshow.
Bam.
So, get your belongings, go to England, and say, how much is this worth? You old bastard?
Yeah. Here's a napkin that George Washington used. What's it worth? Tell me now.
George Washington sneezed here. Oh, God. Help. Folks.
Help.
Folks, send in your jokes. I'm out of jokes. After 9 years, I finally ran out of jokes. Just kidding. Never had any. We made it this far without them.
You can look back and see eras of the show. You know, Speakerphone Brad is an era.
Classic.
Home Improvement Season 7. We had our dump cake era. The dump cake era.
It's come and gone. The perfect pancake has left us already.
Yeah, there was no Casper mattress era.
we could only get Snuggie.
Exactly.
Hey, if you lay enough Snuggies out on a floor, you can make a mattress.
Like, we have several of those little blankets, and I'm always like, could you get that Snuggie for me? And she's like, that's not a Snuggie. And I'm like, well, whatever.
What are we, poor people? Give me a Snuggie.
Yeah. She'll try to get me to eat something with a tablespoon. And I'm like, this reminds me of when I was young and poor, and we had to eat out of big spoons.
That's the saddest story ever told.
Ever. What are we covering tonight?
Fine. Change the subject. I know it's too painful for you. We're talking about Absurd from 1981, a.k.a. Zombie 6 Monster Hunter, a.k.a. Anthropophagus 2, a.k.a. some other titles. Man, just Monster Hunter?
Horrible.
Yeah. Maledicción Satanica in Mexico.
Wow.
Oh boy, this is great. Something Polish, something Greek, something Canadian. Oh, in Canada it was Psychose Infernale, which I guess was French. I didn't do French so good.
It was Anthropophagus 2, eh?
It's directed by Joe D'Amato, a.k.a. Aristide Massachesi, or some other correct pronunciation, insert here. Also known as Peter Newton.
Yeah.
Yep. Son of the guy who invented apples.
Yeah. I watched, this is not a spoiler, but I watched an interview with George Eastman.
Mm-hmm. It's a
and
good
he's
one.
like, yeah. He's like, we didn't have any ideas.
We saw The Shining, and we saw Halloween. And, you know, you can't really do anything original, okay? Like, you've seen Friday the 13th, and those ideas just slip into yours, and they're your own. And I was like, I love you, George.
He talked shit about Anthropophagus. It was hilarious.
Oh, Luigi Montefiore. Oh, and yeah, like this movie, he's like, yeah, it's always with the execution. The writing is flawless. And I'm like, you son of a bitch. You wrote this. Of course you'd say that. Love him so much.
Oh, it's so good.
So I don't have a good trailer for this. I have an okay trailer. This is, I believe, from the Wizard home video. And it's okay. It's got some music in it from the movie. And it's got a roar of some kind, like a roar. And it's got dialogue. Really? Yeah, it's got a dialogue from frickin' Gay Dracula.
Of course.
Some of his dialogue. Of course, we're talking about good old Edmund Purdom, a.k.a. Gay Dracula, who we love very much on this show.
Very much.
He's one of the busts that we've had carved out of, I don't know, obsidian or tin? I forget.
Yeah, he keeps holding his collar like an old woman, and I'm like, what is he doing?
Blah, like blah.
I said he's like the Patricia character in Split.
Oh my God.
But then, of course, there's a reason for it, but I made fun of it before we got there.
Hey, you didn't know. Now you do.
Now I do. I had not seen this in quite some time.
Yeah, it had been a little while for me, too. We'll get into all that. Here's the trailer.
There exists a reality that we do not see. I know science cannot accept it. Nor can blind faith accept it, but it is so.
You have alerted the authorities instead of running after this guy on your own?
After the contamination, we advise authorities. They organize great hunt.
But you just said he can't be killed.
Oh, but there is a way.
A new victim, a boy from the North End. I called the hospital. I'm sending out an ambulance to pick him up. He was torn to shreds. You were right, Padre. That's no man. It's a monster.
I found the aforementioned Wizard video VHS tape here with the very misleading cover art. Oh boy. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 zombies in a graveyard, and a very, very traditional looking British kind of a villa in the background, and a priest holding a crucifix with the light shining. I'm like, yeah, none of this, just none of that. The priest and the zombie that doesn't look like a zombie, so not the cover at all.
Exactly.
So it says, Monster Hunter, pray you survive the hunt. And it says, into a seemingly tranquil village comes a priest with a secret mission to hunt and destroy inhuman beasts, plural, and demonic spirits, also plural. The priest finds more than he bargained for, a witch who cruelly blinds her victims, not in this movie. A sinister fog of doom, not in this movie. Mutated creatures bent on revenge. One mutated creature, but only on the inside. He's like the Phantom of the Opera in the Argento version.
Wow.
Next paragraph. The priest's monster hunt leads him to the dreaded villa of Dr. Kramer. No, it doesn't. Hidden deep in the shrouded forest where no villagers dare to go. Maybe. And here lurks an unspeakable trap, a web of supernatural terror that crushes the souls of its victims. No, none of this is true.
Is it for real? Is that real?
Oh, this movie's not this at all.
Not at all.
There's probably really bad reviews from the 80s. All those 80s horror movie VHS review books probably have reviews ripping this to shreds because this is nothing like that at all.
Not at all.
Good Lord, what were they thinking?
Wow.
They wanted to make money.
Yeah.
Evil! I have got a very, very exciting pile of paper here. I've got my meager notes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got the plot synopsis by one Elizabeth with, is this your Roman numeral system here?
It is.
I like your Roman numeral system.
Thank you. I had to fight Elizabeth for it.
Oh my god. Well, yeah. It's worth fighting for. So this movie, they did want to do a sequel to Anthropophagus, which, ends with the death of the main character, the evil character. Spoilers, look out. And then they wanted to bring him back because he was so successful overseas, which Joe D'Amato himself in interviews says, none of his horror movies made any money in Italy. They were always for foreign markets. Always.
Wow.
And because Anthropophagus, a.k.a. the Grim Reaper, was so popular that they had to do a sequel to it. So George Eastman, through some convoluted story, ended up writing this movie and starring in it again because he didn't like the script and offered to rewrite it if he could star in it and reprise his role, quote unquote. And so there you go.
Yeah.
And he wrote a flawless movie, obviously.
Obviously, it's flawless. There are no flaws here. Move along.
No. A big aspect of this movie is the frickin' score.
Yes.
It's a cuckoo score is what it is.
It really is. Did I read it somewhere? Did I hear it somewhere? Or did you say, or did I make up the following sentence? George Eastman wanted to be in a movie where he wasn't made up like a crazy cannibal. So they made this one. He just wanted to appear as himself.
I don't know. That sounds very true to me because it's just so, it just logically makes sense. Because you're looking at him and him like, well, he looks comfortable as shit in this movie.
Exactly.
Like he's wearing his own sneaker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I love this. This is great. So good old Carlo Maria Cordio also did music for Pieces, 2020 Texas Gladiators, Fulci's Enigma. He did music for Zombie 5 Killing Birds, Superstition 2, which I still haven't seen.
Nor have I.
Beyond the Door 3, a.k.a. Amok Train, which is bonkers.
You and Jeffrey covered that, correct?
Oh, yeah, a long time ago. And also Shocking Dark.
See, that's something I want to see.
Also haven't seen that, but...
No, I haven't either.
Quite a successful career there.
Yeah, it is.
All right, here we go. Here comes some plot. Folks, we're going to spoil this whole thing. I'm not saying buy the Synapse Blu-ray, but you should.
That if you've seen Halloween, you've seen Absurd.
No way. Well, the thing that's funny about this is I had a bootleg, and then I had another bootleg.
Uh-huh.
The first bootleg was me bootlegging myself because I bought the VHS tape and then burned it to DVD-R, and then I bought that one under the horrible title.
Right.
Which looked great, but it kept switching between the two cuts.
Uh-huh.
That was the only version I had for a really long time, and then maybe there was a download that was better, I forget, and suddenly Synapse saved the day.
What I own is the 88 Films version.
See.
Which is just, it's the British. I don't know how they compare between the two. This one looked pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm satisfied with it.
Nice. And that's the one where, when that came out, I was really frustrated because I don't have the international Blu-ray player. So I was like,
right.
Meh. So I just waited, and then I got this one. And I'm very happy with it. It's just nice it doesn't switch between the two versions.
Did Maya put this out?
Yeah. Maya Communication is who put out that version with the French horrible title.
Right, and from what I've always gathered, they're a glorified bootleg company anyway.
Absolutely. I think Scott McDonald said they were an offshoot of Shameless. Not Shameless. No Shame, sorry.
Oh, I gotcha.
They were guys from No Shame, so when No Shame kind of went under, they said, well, we still want to release a bunch of stuff, so they kind of did some sneaky bootlegging and released some really cool stuff, but just not always the best quality.
Yeah, let's see. The Legend of, what is it? It's right here.
Blood Castle?
Yeah, Blood Castle is them, and I've got that.
Yeah. That's a great movie. Yeah, that's the dude who did Let Sleeping Corpses Lie?
Yeah, George Grau.
Yeah, man, that's good stuff. And then, then they just kind of disappeared. I mean, Yeah. The Anthropophagus DVD, the one that I had was... is that Shriek Show? The double disc one?
It is. I've got it right here.
That one was fine. Like, that was a great disc for when it came out. But I don't upgrade every single thing to Blu-ray, as it would just be madness if I did. But that was one where I was like, if I'm getting Absurd, I better get Anthropophagus as well. So I got them both.
I did the same as well, but once again, mine was 88 films.
Yeah, see? Look at that. Your 88 films, Brad.
We have not watched the Anthropophagus 88 films Blu-ray yet.
Well, you're gonna.
I am gonna.
Yeah, I really wanted to just have these two movies back to back again for fun, so I fired up Anthropophagus first and really had a good time with it, as always.
I can imagine, yeah.
Still scares me. This movie's less scary, but...
Right.
So, the movie starts with George Eastman and Edmund Purdom running through the woods, and I said, please don't make Gay Dracula run. It just looks cruel. He looks so tired.
He doesn't make it very far, yeah.
Yeah. George Eastman said that Edmund Purdom is a very nice guy.
Oh.
Yep. Said he was very professional, and he gave a performance as though he were in an Academy Award-winning movie. He didn't care that he's doing a schlocky horror movie.
See, that's dedication.
I love it.
To hear that about Edmund Purdom.
We meet this family, the Bennett family, which consists of Katya, played by Katya Berger, daughter of William Berger, which is amazing.
Really? I did not realize that.
Yep. And Willie, played by Casimir Berger, son of William Berger.
Little Orphan Andy?
Is the kid that will make you wish Bob was here.
Yeah.
Whoa. Unlike Bob, this kid does not have a posse.
No
Nobody.
Posse for Little Orphan Andy.
We've got Mrs. Bennett, played by Hanya Koshanki. Koshanki? I think I'm saying that right. She's actually the mother of Willie and Katya in real life. That's William Berger's wife.
Wow, you're blowing my mind here.
It's a package deal.
Apparently so. What sounds like to me, William Berger got a vacation and didn't even have to be in the film.
Oh, but imagine if he had been. Oh my God. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, it would have. I love me some William Berger.
Oh boy. Unfortunately, the William Berger stand-in is someone named Ian Danby. Writer-director. I think he was in... Oops. Wait a second. No, he wrote the original story to The Devil's Wedding Night. What?
No way. Really?
So yeah, he was a buddy of good old Joe D'Amato from way back, I guess, since that was
apparently so
the one that Joe D'Amato frickin' was cinematographer on. Wow, this is a family affair. So Katya is bedridden. I can't say that, with some kind of mysterious spinal neck trauma deal that she's recovering from. And she's just psychotically and obsessively drawing concentric circles. And her mom just doesn't understand her art. It's like, look, lady.
No, she doesn't.
This is what's keeping me from going completely insane. I'm strapped to this bed very uncomfortably, and I have a Willie running around my house.
Yeah. Her mom's like, why don't you watch TV or read a book or die?
Emphasis on the die.
More of your silly designs, Katya?
Give it back, Mom.
Of course. But why don't you read something instead? Or watch television? You're supposed to keep your mind active, not obsessed. You just keep doing the same design over and over again. It's not right. You mustn't go on this way, Katya. One day soon, you're going to get up out of bed. And you'll be fine. And all of this will be an unpleasant memory.
George Eastman, he runs in to the yard. He's reprising his role, as we said. He's Mikos Stenopoulos. He's Greek, as Elizabeth notes that he's Greek. And he gets almost over the fence with the spikes on it, and Edmund Purdom does a dick move and pulls him down on top of the spikes, and his guts get ripped out. Mm-hmm. So, Anthropophagus ends with guts. Absurd begins with guts. It's all coming together.
It's all true.
He scares the family, including the babysitter, Peggy, I think is her name, who will be referred to as a little moron or a little idiot later by Mom, because Mom's a dick.
Right.
But she's played by Cindy Ledbetter. She's an American actress who went to Italy and starred in some stuff, like Rat's Night of Terror.
Mm-hmm.
Star Crash. Oh, boy. She was in them all.
Mm-hmm.
You're in those two, you're in them all, my friend. He comes in, scares the family, especially Willie, so he scares a Willie. He gets taken to the hospital after he collapses, where, unfortunately, the surgeons save him, but they don't have to do a lot of work because he can frickin' heal himself in this movie, which probably would have come in handy in the last movie, which is why he's in this movie, because he healed so much that his skin condition cleared up and his hair grew back.
Exactly. But yet he's still pissed off.
Well, he's vegan in this movie. Notice that he doesn't eat anyone.
Not a single person.
Yep, he's gone vegan, which is why he looks so tall. Because vegans are all tall people.
Very tall vegetables.
That night, a motorcycle gang of quote-unquote American youths harass an old drunk sea captain. And this biker gang has a very familiar face in it.
It does indeed.
It is frickin' Michele Soavi.
Yeah, it is.
And I wrote in my notes, Michele Soavi, born to ride.
Boy, howdy.
He tells a great story of how he got this film, because this was his first movie, and he went and met frickin' Joe D'Amato in his office to audition for the role of guy on motorcycle. And,
right.
And Joe D'Amato and him hit it off, and Joe's like, hey, can I get a picture? And Michele Soavi goes, wait, of me or the motorcycle? That's good stuff. And he said that there was a love affair from there on. I think he meant a what do you call it? Like a metaphorical love affair or a real love affair. I mean, they're both very attractive guys.
They are adults.
We get Edmund Purdom walking around in the woods. Some cops stop him, and he claims that his car is broken down. According to Elizabeth's notes, he's Greek.
Right. It's important to note.
It's so funny. They ask him, like, do you have any identification? He's like, identification?
Like, he's like, yeah, I got a passport.
I'm a foreigner in your foreign land of America.
Yeah. Back
at the station, the lead detective goes through George Eastman's pockets and finds Greek coins because he's Greek. And he recovers from surgery, and he wants to frickin' murder Edmund Purdom as soon as he sees him. But they manage to restrain him, which I find impossible. You cannot restrain George Eastman.
No, you shouldn't even try.
I've seen him in Rabid Dogs. That cannot be restrained.
And he's in one of those gialli that you like. I liked it too. Is he in The Killers on the Telephone?
Which one? George Eastman?
George Eastman, yeah.
Good question. I haven't watched that in years.
Maybe. No. I know what it is. It's the Emmanuel film.
Yeah. Emmanuel and Francois?
It's the Joe D'Amato one that you...
Yeah,
you had me watch. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, it's all right. It's super sleazy. Super sleazy.
Yeah, he's a boyfriend, and he keeps going away for... Yeah.
That was 75? Yeah, Emmanuel's Revenge, 1975.
That's it, yeah.
Dude, that movie's brutal. Brutal. I like it.
It's the only official Emmanuel film that I've seen.
It's the only one I'll watch.
I've seen Tender and Perverse Emmanuel by Franco.
There you go. But yeah, that movie, I like it, even though folks who know me will be very surprised that I like something that sleazy. But, Joe D'Amato's he's just freaking great.
Yeah, he is.
So George Eastman, who heals magically, gets up and frickin' myrtleates the nurse with a frickin' medical drill, why was there a medical drill this close to a patient recovering? I have no idea why. Oh my god, it's brutal, dude.
Yeah, it is. you can't make movies like this anymore because, first of all, in 1981, you could go see this at a theater in America.
Yep.
At best, it would probably be straight to video or maybe a DVD release. It's really a shame that it's come to that.
Yeah. The odds of getting your horror film in the theater now are like 1 billion to 1.
Yeah,
that's
very
crazy.
Slim.
And if it doesn't involve someone being possessed by a demon, then you're not going to even get on Netflix.
Nope, forget it.
Yep. Is he possessed by a demon? Okay, it's on Netflix.
Exactly. FOD will put it on there.
There's a great bit of dialogue where frickin' Edmund Purdom, George Eastman escapes, by the way. He gets all of his clothes back, including his awesome sneakers, and he's out of there. And after that, Edmund Purdom explains to the cop how frickin' George Eastman's different, and he has this whole monologue about a reality you cannot see. It is frickin' awesome.
And some prom acting from Mr. Purdom there.
Yes, and there's some bullshit pseudoscience about every time he gets injured, his brain gets bigger or something.
I think that's true. I don't think we can call that pseudoscience.
When I stub my toe, I get a headache because my brain's growing. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, I've read about it in books.
It's called the Schmidt condition.
The Schmidt condition.
We know he kills, only do you know why?
I would say that he does not regenerate cells perfectly, that he is insane.
We have to find some way of stopping him.
But you just said he can't be killed.
Oh, but there is a way. His blood coagulates, and his cell memory reconstitutes any organ that is injured, all but his brain. Once the cerebral cells are destroyed, they cannot regenerate. It is his brain that is his weak point.
So it's great. It's just a wonderful bit. I love that dialogue. I think I sampled it. I sampled it for my album, Terror. I have some samples from this movie. And you have to destroy his brain, of course, because he's a monster hunter, Zombie 6 guy.
Priest scientist.
That's right. My favorite scenes in this are George Eastman, quote unquote, acting or just walking around as himself in the streets.
Yes.
And he attacks a guy in a slaughterhouse, and the guy shoots him, but it does no good. And then he frickin' grabs the guy, puts him on a bandsaw, and cuts the top of his head open, which that scene was chopped up on the VHS for so long. Oh my god, you couldn't see what the hell happened.
I'm sure.
Oh my god. And Elizabeth, about that scene, she says, "'Tis bloody."
'Tis bloody.
I love that the cops give Edmund Purdom a gun so that he can help them hunt friggin' George Eastman. So George Eastman, he ran to the house randomly at the beginning of the movie. But now he gets hit by a car while he's running around in the night. He's about to kill Michele Soave, whose motorcycle breaks down, which is unrealistic because it's a beautiful motorcycle. And so just as he's about to kill him, he gets hit by a car, and it's good old Mr. Bennett running him over with his blue designer piece of shit vehicle. Oh, I forgot to make a Greeks bearing gifts joke.
Go back and do it.
I just did.
Okay.
So Dad gets home after hitting and running frickin' George Eastman, who still murders Michele Soave. He steals his motorcycle and then drives it to the house. No, he doesn't. He just keeps walking. I don't think they made a motorcycle big enough for George Eastman to actually ride.
No.
It would look like one of those ones at the circus, little clown motorcycles.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. I kind of want to see that now.
Yeah.
So, that image is bouncing around in my head. When he gets home, we see him looking distraught because he's an asshole who's a hit-and-run driver, but he's wearing the big red power tie. What a cool guy. He and his wife, Mrs. Bennett, have a hot date. They're going to go watch the big American football game. Oh my God, Brad.
It's the Rams versus the Steelers, and the Rams did play the Steelers in the 1980 Super Bowl, so I don't know.
Oh my God.
I know for a fact that the NFL did not license this footage. I know for a fact that the commentary, if you listen to the football commentary, it is hilarious.
Dude,
because it's not actual real NFL football commentary.
Okay. And Italians don't understand that the entire game isn't in slow motion.
Yeah.
Every single clip that they show of the football game is in slow motion. It is the funniest shit ever. Oh my God. American football. Like, can you imagine like people who love soccer and have never seen American football saw that and it's like, wow, that's terrible.
Yeah, what this is bullshit.
So they leave, mom and dad leave to go to the big game, the game watching party, which we'll talk about just how bizarre. I mean, okay, it's just weird. We get one of the nurses walking home from the hospital. She was assisting Dr. Kramer, who I forgot to talk about. But this actress is Emily the nurse. She's played by Annie Bell. And she's a big-time softcore sexy movie actress.
Mm-hmm.
She was also in Ruggero Deodato's House on the Edge of the Park.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah, that's another one of those sleazy ones that people are like, you like that? I'm like, yeah, I don't tell people about it.
Right.
The one I really like her in, like legit love, is Lips of Blood by Jean Roland.
I do like Lips of Blood.
And she is so beautiful. I mean, she's just stunning. An odd thing about this movie and Anthropophagus, no nudity.
Yeah, I was just thinking just now when you were talking about her being in softcore porn, I'm like, nobody gets naked.
Joe D'Amato, Mr. Porn Guy. Yeah, no nudity and sexy times in either of these movies. It's very unusual for Italian horror to not have something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But she assists Dr. Kramer, and Dr. Kramer is played by one Ted Russoff. Ted Russoff is the voice actor, and I want to say did he also direct some stuff? He was also a dubbing director on several things. He did voice acting on The Great Silence,
I Am Sartana, Your Angel of Death, $5 for an August Moon, Forbidden Photos of a Lady Above Suspicion, Caliber 9, 7 Bloodstained Orchids, Perfume and a Lady in Black, Almost Human, Street Law, Killer Reserve 9 Seats, Deep Red, Violet Naples, The Big Racket, Suspiria, The Sin of the Rotten Fist, Beyond the Darkness, Contraband, Nightmare City, Cannibal Ferox,
House by the Cemetery. I mean, dude. Yeah. Wow. And it's just him playing a doctor with a beard. He looks like a man with a beard.
Wow. Men with beards can do anything.
I know. That's why I only have a mustache, so I don't do too much.
You don't want to overtax yourself.
No. So Emily's walking through the woods, and she bumps into the old drunken sailor guy again, who's just, what a character. When she's on her way, because she takes care of Katya, and she's not the little moron or the little idiot, Peggy, babysitter, who gets murdered by George Eastman when he shows up because he recognizes the car that ran him over, and now he's going to get revenge. Before he was just at the house to have a vegan meal, but had his guts ripped out. Now he's at the house to kill everyone there because of the blue
revenge.
Car. He puts a pickaxe through her head,
like you do.
Yep, and it's sad. Babysitter's got it rough. Was there a movie like that came out before this that had like babysitters in it? Was this the first babysitter in peril movie?
Pretty sure this was the first.
Cool, thank you.
You're welcome.
Emily shows up and she takes over. Then we go to taking care of Katya. Hey, and then it's cuckoo. And the adults are eating pasta while watching the big American football game.
Elizabeth's like, these Italians. They think Americans are eating pasta at the Super Bowl.
That's how you know you're in Italy.
That's right.
Okay, so second or third weird thing. I guess third, since it's all in slow motion and all of the commentary is complete and utter gibberish. And they're eating a big bowl of pasta that they all share. The other thing that's really funny about this sequence is they're all wearing their Sunday best. All of these adults are dressed up. The women are in their nice dresses. The men are in three-piece suits to hang out and watch the big game. What the fuck?
Well, I mean, people used to be classy.
It's like they watched a commercial, an American commercial, and said, that's life over there. They thought it was a documentary.
Yeah, exactly.
So Emily finds the babysitter dead, and she gets a call from the hospital. just before this, Dr. Kramer telling her that the guy's on the loose.
Did they get him?
No, he disappeared without a trace. Well, he did leave one trace. He murdered a boy on a street in the north section of town. The police are out looking for him now, but I understand they're hampered by a lack of available manpower. He's a bloodthirsty beast. Unfortunately, he has such a rapid coefficient of blood coagulation that he can block up any wound he receives in just a few seconds before he can die.
That just can't be. You've got to be joking, Doctor.
I wish I were, but I assure you I'm not. I witnessed it in person. It seems the only way to kill him is to hit him in the cerebral mass.
How is that possible?
Don't ask me. I'm more perplexed than you are.
And so now they're trapped in the house with him. After she gets Willie out of the house, she grabs Willie, throws him out, and here's the most obnoxious thing in this movie. This little kid does not listen to directions. He doesn't run for help. He just runs back into an open window to get back into danger. And eventually leads her to her death. He's standing in the hallway crying. She goes to run to save him, and George Eastman grabs her and stuffs her head in the oven. Brad, what do you think of this head in the oven scene?
It's terrifying. It goes on for quite some time.
Oh, yeah, they were proud of this sequence.
Yeah, I mean, he bangs her head around.
Man.
Oof. I think she probably could have pretended to have been dead a lot longer, sooner.
Oh, my God. It's just so... Oy, oy, oy.
Yeah.
Whew. They took the back out of the oven and shoved a camera in it and filmed her with their head stuck in it. And then they filmed an oven...
Bouncing around.
Yep. And they filmed an oven on so that you get the impression, and they just keep making her makeup look worse and worse, even though her hair never catches on fire.
Right.
So he kills her, or so we think. Dun, dun, dun. He goes to grab Willie. He, penis joke.
Mm-hmm.
And just when he's about to grab Willie, Emily, the nurse, isn't dead. She's just burned to shit, and she stabs him with scissors. She tries to stab him in the head, but because he's 7'20", she can't reach his damn head. And then he myrtleizes her. And this time, Willie actually runs for help. He does it. For real this time. So proud of him. Meanwhile, our daughter, Katya, finally gets out of her straps. Finally. But she makes a bunch of noise, and so George Eastman goes to kill her, but then she stabs him with her compass.
Her compass.
Finally. Math is useful, everybody.
It's about time.
Now that he's blinded, she starts sneaking around. She puts on her record player real loud. I like what Elizabeth has to say here. She turns on her record player super loud so we can't hear her get away. Apparently, Italian invalids love gothic organ music, just like the lady in the fifth chord.
That's my life, y'all.
Oh, I love it. Good contributions.
Mm-hmm.
So he's blind. She sneaks around. We have some nice cat and mousing going on. Willie is still running, and then he runs into Edmund Purdom. Hooray! Finally. He follows Willie to the house, and he pulls out that gun and starts blasting frickin' George Eastman in the head. His head explodes. Brains fly everywhere. Movie over. Except he doesn't get to fire a single shot. He gets fucking murdered by George Eastman.
What a waste of time.
Insert second Greeks bearing gifts joke.
Okay.
Right there. At some point, he knocks over their suit of armor, complete with a big axe and other accoutrements.
Uh-huh.
And Katya uses this opportunity to take the axe and start hacking away at frickin' George Eastman's head. Parents show up. The cops show up. Willie's there. She finally opens the door for them. She's covered in blood. And she says, "You don't have to be afraid. The boogeyman," which I forgot to mention how many times they say the boogeyman in this movie. You don't have to be afraid anymore. I killed him. And she holds up the hilarious severed head of George Eastman. Freeze frame.
It's a pretty good one.
Whew. What was I going to say about this? Oh, yeah. I got some trivia here from the mouths of the people who made this film.
Okay.
Just a little bit, of course. That's the sound of Spaghetti Nightmares. The Bible of Hello, This is the Doom Show. The interviewer asks good old Joe D'Amato, In contrast with your 2 previous horror films, the cast here was made up of mostly foreign actors. He says, yes, the film had been conceived almost exclusively for the foreign market, as, I'm sure you're aware, these films have to be made in English. So we used 2 English dubbers, and, yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
Oh yeah, were the actors always well-disciplined during the filming of the more nauseating scenes in your horror films? He says, yes, they were. Partly because I think I've got a knack for making a joke out of anything.
Really got a knack to it.
He did. That's all. That's very little to say about this movie. George Eastman, a.k.a. Luigi Montefiore, he says... Oh, here's where he explains the whole thing. Interviewer asked, was Rosso Sangue intended to be a sequel to Anthropophagus? And he says, originally, yes. I started off by writing the treatment, and then, since I didn't have time to write the actual script, another film having come up unexpectedly, I gave it to Masakesi free of charge. On returning, of course he did. On returning from my work on this other film, I found that they'd had the script written up, but it had been badly done. And since I needed the money, I offered to revise the script in return for a part in the film. That way, everybody was happy. Partly because his writing was so superb. This was on the Video Nasty list. This was banned, probably because of the artwork, but it could have been that frickin' oven scene, or the frickin' nurse with the drill through her head scene, or the bandsaw scene, or any of those scenes. A few other notes I have. When Willie is watching television with his babysitter and he's getting all pissed off because this kid only has 2 expressions, which is duh and annoying. And he's being really annoying, and they're watching something called Nero Sesso, or Black Sex.
Wow. They're
not watching the sex scenes, they're just watching the the dialogue sequence. But they have it playing like a soap opera, and George Eastman says that was a bit of Joe D'Amato's style of humor right there.
When your feelings run as deep as mine do, my dearest, nothing seems to be impossible.
It can't be. No, you know that.
That's simply not true, my love. We did decide on a policy of forgive and forget, didn't we?
You did. No, I can't. If you're thinking of what went on, yes, I can forgive that. Only, how does one forgive the future?
One doesn't think about the future, my love. One lets it come in order to see what it may bring. I know you love me, and you know it.
Hey, put that back on. Give me that.
Willie, quit that.
My favorite thing about Peggy, the babysitter, is that she's Irish. So she actually says, the boogeyman'll be getting ya. I was like, what is going on here? Willie does a scare. He scares the nurse by putting on a skeleton mask and swinging like Tarzan through the hallway. Like they actually have a rope from the ceiling for him to swing on.
So it's lovely.
It's bizarre is what it is. Katia recovers very quickly from her paralyzation. And I also wrote that George Eastman plays himself, except Greek. So Brad, how do you like this one?
I like this one a lot. I think it's a really good post-Halloween slasher film, especially Italy. I think it's got a lot of really good vibes in it.
Yeah.
You have to say that there was minimal work put into the script. He saw Halloween, surely, and it's like, because Evan Purdam's clearly the Donald Pleasance, Dr. Loomis character. It's nice you've got an explanation of why your killer is unkillable outside of the headshot or brain damage, which I thought was pretty neat because you don't ever get that. As far as it and Anthropophagus go, I vastly prefer Anthropophagus. I think that we've covered it, we've talked about it, but the sense of dread that pervades that movie, I think just carries it along. I don't believe you have a tattoo on your body of any scene or anything from Absurd.
I don't.
I wish that D'Amato had made another handful of these types of films to go along with these two, and even with Beyond the Darkness and Boy Omega. I think it's something we've talked about before. If you're a long-time listener, you've probably heard me say this, and if you're not, then buckle up. But I've always considered D'Amato's films to be cousins of Fulci's. It's it always seems like D'Amato brings a more workmanlike director sensibility to it than Fulci did. They're not quite as fantastical as obviously as like the Gates of Hell trilogy or what have you. But I like it a lot. I think that in the annals of Italian horror, I don't think anything quite captures a specific mood as well as Anthropophagus does. And I know I was talking to Jeff Barton, who said he didn't like it except for the very end. But I think that's a great movie throughout. This one of the better Halloween ripoffs you'll see out there. The fact that the final girl is in traction, I think, kind of changes things up visually and ups the stakes. No, I think it's really good. We saw, I think from Netflix, we got the horrible disc. And this has been obviously back when everybody was still getting disc from Netflix. And they actually had something like this, which was always something cool that Netflix did, was have some of these lesser known, films. But yeah, no, I like this a lot. It's got the good vibe to it. Elizabeth was just tore up excited watching it. She was just squeeing because it had been a while since we'd seen something along those lines, that's really got, it's not a giallo, but it's got that really heavy Italian early 80s, late 70s horror film vibe. And like we talked about earlier in the show, where you could go and catch these at a theater in America was just amazing. Even things like Elizabeth's sister and brother-in-law, David and Deborah, they went and saw here in town Happy Birthday to Me back in 1981. And it's like, if you could have been around just 1981 through 84, which I was, but I wasn't old enough to go to the theater. But you could have practically watched a new slasher film every week for a long time, especially in 81.
Oh, man.
So I really enjoy this one. I prefer the absurd title over Monster Hunter and Horrible and Rosso Sangue. I think it's a little bit of a stretch for them to even think it's a sequel to Anthropophagus. Now, if you told me it was a prequel and then he got everything straightened out, went on a trip on a boat, and they got deserted, shipwrecked, whatever. But no, I think it's a really a fun film. I'm glad that I bought the 88 Films version, even though I could have just held out and bought, the Synapse, since I didn't get around to watching it till now anyway.
You didn't know. There was no guarantee.
No idea.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. Not on a title of this magnitude. Or lessitude, if you will.
No, I have a history with this movie. I saw this on TV when I was a little kid.
Wow.
And it's one of those movies that inspired my entire horror movie obsession.
I can totally see that too. That's awesome.
This movie, I think it really helps to kind of have the brain of a child like I do now.
Right.
Because I haven't matured at all since I was like 8. And I just found this movie totally fascinating and intriguing. And because I hadn't seen every other frickin' slasher movie, this just appealed to me so much. And the ending shocked me so much. Like I can imagine. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was outrageous.
It's pretty good hit too.
Yeah. You're naughty.
I know.
But no, I love this movie. For me, it's nostalgic, and for me, it's because it's Italian, because it's Joe D'Amato, because it's a sequel, quote unquote, of Anthropophagus. I love this so much. But I could see showing this to someone, and they're like, "What is this Halloween ripoff? This is dumb.
This is hot garbage.
Or this is boring." And it definitely has some pacing issues, but whatever.
If you're inclined to this sort of thing, it's got its charm, certainly.
Yeah. I love how the Italian mindset was like they got the giallo, they got the gothic horror stuff, they got the splatter movies, they got the zombie movies. I really don't think the Italians understood slasher movies.
Right.
Like, the more slasher aspects of something like Phenomena or a slasher I've still to this day not seen, Body Count.
Yep, I've seen Body Count a couple times.
And Stage Fright. But yeah, not or on the Spanish side of things, you got Pieces, which Pieces is a freaking amazing slasher, but it's just a really gory giallo. So I don't think Europe quite understood what we were doing. You know?
No, I can see that. There's you would have thought they'd have been tailor-made for the slasher because they copied every genre.
Right.
But I think in the case of the slasher, they somewhat started the slasher with the giallo, so maybe they were a little confused or a little bit trepidatious.
Yeah, there's probably a big Italian slasher that I'm forgetting. I'm not sure if I'm like leaving some really obvious title out or not. But yeah, you're totally right. Why didn't they just start churning these out again and just, you know, but it was also such a weird time for the Italian film industry where,
yeah,
I mean, the biggest thing to hit in just a couple years was freaking Demons. And that changed the game. People were like, whoa, we can do these huge, expensive movies and the Americans will eat them up. And so they started doing bigger budget ones, and then the Americans were like, no thanks.
Yeah, we're not going to watch that.
The American market is really fickle, and so if you were lucky to get anything even on tape over here from Italy, so yeah, I give this 3 thumbs out of 12. Oh, whoa.
I give it 1 pretty decent George Eastman severed head.
I give it 1 gay Dracula, and that's all you need, baby.
You only need 1 gay Dracula.
I can only handle 1.
Well, I mean, really?
I heard you had a shout-out you wanted to give on this episode.
That's what I was going to say. I wanted to shout out to Amy and Dan Green out there in the far west. Amy's just amazing. We all love Amy.
Oh, yeah. Big friend of the show.
Absolutely. Big friend of humanity, Amy. I don't know her husband, Dan, very well, or at all, really. But they do listen while they're doing some delivering.
Hell yeah.
Delivering.
When he's inking comic books.
Yeah, that's always what I think of when she talks about him, is because there's a very famous comic book artist, mostly inker, named Dan Green.
Yep.
Very talented dude, which I'm sure our Dan Green is very talented as well.
Hell yeah.
You'd have to be married to Amy.
Boom.
But anyway, this has gotten out of control, and I just wanted to say 5 years from now when they're listening to this episode, hi guys, I hope you're well.
This is the moment when they stop listening.
Yeah, they're this no more.
Weird shout out.
Yeah. I'll message her later and be like, well,
we did it.
A very awkward shout out.
We did it. A very awkward shout out.
Well, folks, thanks for listening. Brad, thank you, as always, for joining me, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Folks, if you see George Eastman towering over your city, it's because he forgot his Godzilla costume, and let him be.
Just let him be, y'all.
Good night.
Bye.
Hello, This is the Doom Show is a proud member of the Legion Podcast Network. Please check out the other shows at legionpodcasts.com. If you want more of Hello, This is the Doom Show, check out doomedmoviethon.com or hellodoomedshow.podomatic.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at doomedmoviethon or email the show doomedmoviethon@gmail.com. We're also in the air. Look up.
The bond between father and son has been magical throughout time. Precious moments spent together shape not only the son, but the father as well. Their contributions to the world will benefit all humanity. However, this does not apply to Dan and Brennan on the Corrupted Youth podcast. This father and son duo explore the latest blockbusters, classic genre films, and the schlockiest of Golden Age VHS rental store flicks in spoiler-heavy fashion. What a couple of dongles. If you'd like to hear Dan and Brennan's precious father-son moments flushed away like so many turds, listen to the Corrupted Youth podcast, available on Podomatic and Apple Podcasts.
If you enjoyed this show, then make sure you check out the other great shows on the Legion Podcast Network, like Cinema Psyops, Cinema Beef, Devour the Podcast, Duncan and Bo Come Correct, Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, Friday the 13th, Get Slayed, The Hellming Power Hour, Hello, This is the Doom Show, Hero Hero Go Show, Kill the Cast, Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, Jerry Hates Action, Legion After Dark, Mental Health, Obsessive Cinema, Discourse, Pick 6 Movies, the podcast by The Cemetery, the podcast on Haunted Hill, the Psychosemantic Podcast, Rick Radio, House of Wax, Dude Looks Like the 80s, Rabbit and Red Radio, the Shadecast, Short Bus Cinema, 2 Drink Minimum Commentaries, the VD Clinic, Who Will Survive Horror Podcast, and Witch vs. the Doomsday Clock. With such a wide spread of shows, there is guaranteed to be a niche for you to fall in love with. Horror, politics, movies, books, sex, music, commentaries, health, video games, kaiju, action, news, comedy, and opinions that would most likely get you killed in some parts of the world. We are proud to bring you some of the best podcasting in the world. Check us out at www.legionpodcast.com, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and any other dark corner of the internet where podcasts can be found.